Hey YouTube, Robbie here. I'm going to give you guys another how to play deck 101. Different deck this time. I'm going to give you guys two decks tonight actually, but in two different videos. Um, First deck I have for you guys tonight is Grapha and his army. So we got Dark World being a winner of YCS Long Beach, which I attended. I didn't play a single Dark World whatsoever that entire weekend, which I'm happy because I honestly hate playing against the deck, and I honestly hate playing the deck itself, but it's really good. So yeah, like we're gonna start off with Grapha being your boss monster. For those people who are just learning how to play Dark World, he's discarded by anything that's not a cost. He destroys a card, and then when you have him in grave and you have another Dark World on the field, you bounce back that Dark World to hand, summon him from the grave. So he's your boss monster that can really just win the game really quickly. He is effectively the quickest way to deal 8,000 to your opponent. And he's a sponge. Like, he can take warnings, he can take torrentials. If you play the deck correctly, honestly, unless you're going for game in a single turn, and you know they don't have gores or anything, and you're only gonna if you're gonna summon like 3 in a single turn, you're only gonna ever summon the 1 and no other monsters, and you're going to effectively try to continually swing with just him to bait out any of their back row, and effectively if he's to die and go to grave, you can just summon it again main phase 2 or anything like that. So again, if you're only going for game, summon 3 or 2 or whatever, but he is your sponge and your boss, so he is your general. Next, we have Triple Snow. Effectively, in my opinion, the best Dark World monster in this deck. Playing Snow correctly takes a lot of skill. It all dictates depending on your hand and the number of discard outlets you currently control in hand. Normally, when you discard a Snow, I search for a Snow, always. Almost always. Unless you're going to search for a Snow, need a Grapha pop, or have Grapha summonable incredibly easily. I Snow for Snow if I have another outlet. So it thins the deck, and the fact that he's a beater is really good, honestly. Snow searches for everything that's Dark World in this deck, so he searches out the deck, thins it out, which is what you want to do. It's like Gravekeeper, like thought process of Recruiter for Recruiter. You're going to want to get Snow for Snow. And normally you end on the second Snow without an outlet for Gates, or the third Snow onto the Grapha. If you're stuck in the situation where you're Snow and only have one outlet, and you discard it, then you go Snow into Gates or Grapha immediately. And if you're looking at, I need another outlet, have another Snow in hand already, you most likely get a Dark World Dealing, or Gates. So that's how you search. Or if you need the monster to bounce back to hand easily, you search one of the other guys. I'll show you in just a second. But then you have your 3 Brow. Brow is just a draw power, effectively, so he's in there just mainly for that reason. Nothing else, honestly. And he makes Leviair, because he's the only level 3 monster in this deck. 2 Beige. He's your Whore, Dark World. Basically, when he is discarded, you just summon him immediately. So he makes Grapha plays really easy when you want to summon more than one Grapha in a single turn. And effectively, he's just a beater. And then we have Chu Silva. I think the fact that he's a 23 beater that comes out easily, he's a 5-star, and if his effects were to go off in the mirror match, it effectively says that your opponent sends back 2 cards from their hand to the deck randomly. So, like, the main reason I'm playing him is another easy free summon beat off of being dropped off of a discard outlet, like the Beige. So, like, you're having 4 summons for free that you're not normal summoning in a single turn. So, honestly, it's a good powerhouse card, and making rank 5s with this deck's really, really critical because they're all good. And finally, the last monster is Trance Archfiend. He is a discard outlet. I don't like more than one. One's just fine. This deck works really fast, I'm not gonna lie. He's your only normal summon most of the time. So yeah, he's really cool. Getting into the spells. Each of the spells is critical to the deck. There's some other spells that I should be playing that you're going to question why I'm not playing, and it's personal preference. I'll show you those said spells in just 1 second. But the final monster that most people ask why I'm not playing, well, besides... Alright, there's a couple monsters I'm not playing. The first one is Malefic Stardust. People are asking why I don't play Malefic Stardust. It's, I feel like he's a little slow sometimes when you draw him and you want to swing with other monsters half the time, but you can't because he's on the field. Sure, I can understand how protecting gates is really critical, but half the time I just don't like him as much. And then the other monster people wonder why I'm not playing is Torguide. I honestly don't like Torguide in the Dark World deck because it can clump in your hand. Sure, it gets the Brow, which is a free Grapha, yes. Sure, it makes ranks 3s a lot quicker and more accessible to the deck, but I honestly just don't like it. Spells now. We got Card Destruction, the most powerful card in this deck. Like, honestly, if you draw it, you're winning the game like 95% of the time. Now, the way with Card Destruction and Dark Worlds to work effectively is how you're going to do your Chain Link. So you have him, 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 and him. You have those 4, Card Destruction, and say like one other card, like a Monster Reborn or something, for example. So you're going to want a Card Destruction, and you're going to discard the 4, and the way you're going to discard them is how the chain resolves backwards. So effectively, I'm going to want Grapha Chainlink 1 to pop a card, Brow Chainlink 2, and then Double Snow to search twice. So you're going to draw your 4. So you're going to draw your 4 new cards, and then you're going to search for 2 Dark World cards, and then you're going to draw an extra card. So depending on the chain link is how your Dark World's effects are going to resolve. So understanding that the chain link is really critical to how the way your card destruction is going to affect the duel is important. So understanding that is really important while you're playing this deck and learning how to play it. Next we have 3 Drag Down. Cards ridiculous. Rip your opponent's hand apart, understand your opponent's gameplays, and effectively tell the future for the next 2 turns. So this card is all you need to read and discard. It's an outlet. We got 3 of the field spell. Now, I hate going field spell for field spell a lot of the times for an outlet play to go into the combo. Say you have 3 and you can do it. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to go 1, use it, 2, use it, and then control from there. I'm never going to want to go 1, 2, 3. Because effectively you're banishing 3 of your Dark Worlds out of your graveyard, and you're going to be drawing 3 of your extra cards. It all dictates on what Dark World you need to discard. Like if you need to discard Brow, Grapha, and Snow, comparably to Beige and Silva, then you can go into the 3rd play, but honestly, if you're looking at Beige, Silva, and like Brow, I'm only going to do the 2 and go Beats with Silva. So that all depends on how you're playing that deck out. Next you have 3 Dark World Dealings. Discard outlet, and it's searchable by Snow, which lets you understand how to play it. Playing this versus Drag Down first, I would much rather play this first because then not only does it force your opponent to pick what card they're going to discard in their own hand first, giving you a better understanding of how they're playing the game and what they're thinking about what's dead and what's not dead at first, knowing that they're going to keep the more critical cards in their hand makes their drag down play second a lot better. So understanding that dealings before drag down, always. And then the last 3 spells I'm playing are Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is a recursion of Grapha by another Dark World, so bring back Brow. I'm going to draw an extra card after I bring back the Grapha. So effectively, it's another way to get a Dark World from your into the hand. And then 2 space. I see a lot of Dark World decks not playing space. Honestly, I feel like it's really important just for the fact that it's like you're always going to run into an issue card no matter what, like warnings and stuff. Like, sure, he's a sponge, but I'm saying Deep Risen and like Bottomless is starting to get mained a little bit more. So hitting the back row with this end phase is really good. So there's a spell on it for you guys. Last but not least, we have the traps. I am proxying 3 of my traps. I'll let you guys understand what they do. I just don't have any of them with me at the moment, so I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. First, we have the most amazing trap in the deck, 3 Reckless Greed. Effectively, you're going to be thinning your deck out super quickly. You're going to have, for these 3 cards, you're going to have 6 cards immediately. I never want to use one alone randomly, just like Reckless, draw 2 cards. I'm going to want to try to wait until I can draw 2 to 3 Recklesses together, so you're effectively going to be more cards deep into the deck. So Reckless is your starting trap. This first card is the proxy for one of the more critical cards, in my opinion, Dark Smog. Yeah, I know, it's some random trap card I picked. Effectively, Dark Smog is a discard outlet and lets you manipulate your opponent's graveyard. It wrecks the Insector matchup, which, I mean, Dark Horse already has an easy Insector match. And it wrecks just other matchups in general. So, Smog's really good. This is another proxy. Sorry, again, this is 2 Forced Requisitions. This card, what it reads is you can only activate this when you activate an effect to discard a card. And then the next time you were to activate a card that discards cards, your opponent must discard the same number of cards from their hand. So, effectively, what you're going to do this play is you're going to have gates. You're going to chain the requisition. So, the requisition isn't going to have your opponent do anything yet, but you're still going to draw the 1 card off the gates. And then from there on out, you're going to be playing your discard cards out the wazoo. You can also, besides gates, you can play trance. So, like, these 2 start this card's chain, where these 3 force your opponent to like start losing so much advantage. I guess technically Smog can go here too. So like you're going to be like 1 of 3 into activation, and then 1 of 3 into effectively destroying their entire hand. So like Forced Requisition is a critical card if you think about it, especially with card destruction. You're going card destruction. Say you have 3 in hand, and your opponent has 3 in hand. You're going to card destruction, draw your 3. They're going to discard their 3, draw 3, and then discard their 3 again immediately. Like, that's a really powerful play. I'm not going to lie. Like, you're going to be so many cards ahead and have so much more advantage against your opponent. It's ridiculous. Now, being the meta that it is, a lot of the decks are like really predictable at the point where even without Drag Down, Mind Crush, amazing card. So even with Drag Down, Mind Crush is just a key power card to control the game state, understand the game state, and abuse the level of your opponent and field advantage. And more or less, you're effectively going to win the duel more because like a Mind Crush can just hit the right card. 1 Deck Devastation Virus, again with Mind Crush being another powerful card. This just allows you to see the future. Honestly, I see Dark World as in like a deck that can read the like outcome of the duel for the next like 3 or 4 turns, depending on how you play the deck. 3 Solemn Judgment, or 3 Solemn, like the 3 Solemn Brigade. I love this. I know a lot of people that aren't playing it in Dark World, and honestly, I just love it too much. 1 Skill Drain. It effectively only shuts down my 1 trance. That's it. So it's really good. Stops the Insector matchup. Helps the Dino Rabbit matchup. Helps just other random matchups. And finally, last but not least, 1 Starlight Road. I can understand that a lot of people are not liking Road as much in Dark World, but when you're either trying to go for a game effectively really quickly or anything like that, Starlight Road is protection. And you're setting so many cards with Drag Down that it's just important. Now, a couple other cards people are wondering why I'm not playing again in the deck. Like, I'm not playing Foolish Burial to set the Grapha in the grave. Like, if I already have 1 Grapha in grave, I'd probably rather prefer to draw the Grapha to pop a card instead of just sending it to grave. Sure, it thins your deck out, but honestly, like, this is the worst top deck ever. So, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Upstart, I understand that it's drawing, or having one less card in deck, yes. I'm playing 41 in my build, so, like, even though it'd be at 40 with, like, a random one upstart, I just don't like it. I'm sorry, like, it's good, but at the same time, it's like, that could be the card I'd rather have it be, so I'd rather just not play it. Mirror Force and Torrential. I don't feel like getting a Torrential out. Sorry, I'm lazy. But just, in my opinion, not so necessary in Dark World. Like, sure, your Dark World board is effectively going to rebuild with Grapha, but I'd rather not play the Torrential as much. Dark Hole. I don't need it. I mean, Grapha kills all their monsters off, and I'm going to control their hand so much that it's like I'm only going to be making 1 to 2 big pushes, so whatever Dark Hole effectively isn't going to hit is going to be killed by Grapha regardless. I side deck this card, don't get me wrong. It's one of the best cards ever. Like, it's super powerful. But, like, a lot of the times I'd rather have my combo pieces go off and the skill drain. It was either skill drain or this, and I'd rather have the skill drain versus some of the other random matchups. But that's about it. And then, like, Dark World Lightning. I'm starting to like this card a little bit more in the side deck. I'm not currently side decking any, but I like it. I understand Deep Prison and Bottomless are the side cards a lot versus Dark World, besides Shadow Mirror and Macro. So Dark World Dealing or Dark World Lightning is effectively the way to, like, also start working into the chain with Force Requisition and other combo cards. Only bad ruling about this card is if the card's chained and not set at resolution, still not face down, then this card just fizzles. So, yeah. That's Dark World 101 for you guys. Extra deck is really standard. A lot of the time, I see people playing like one Utopia, one of this, one of that. I play Roach in the extra deck because it's a fiend and it just effectively gets stronger with gates, so that's about it. Again, guys, this is Grapha's Army, and he's teaching you guys how to be recruited under his reign. Alright, thanks, guys.